The theme of this weekend inside the Honda Center really has been to expect the unexpected. And guess who ends up on top of the ice dance podium this weekend? Madison, Chuck, and Evan Bates, and we've got a lot to talk about. You can see there Caitlin Weaver and Andrew Pogier with the silver, a little dancing on the podium for Piper Gillis and Paul Poirier as well. We expect the drama. We like the drama. We did not necessarily know what was going to happen today with that free dance, and wow. I mean, I feel like I'm speechless, but this is the Bridgestone Ice Desk, everyone. Welcome, Nick McCarville here. We've got a lot to talk about. We will push aside those speechless tendencies to talk to you about why exactly things shaped out the way that they did, and I think you know what I'm alluding to. Hubble Donahue go from first, go from the favorites, and they end up off the podium in fourth place today in the free dance. Let's go ahead and check out those standings and look at what did happen there. Chuck Bates winning actually by 4 points pretty comfortably over Weaver Pogier. The free dance second place for Gillis Poirier, that bumped them up into the third place overall. And then there's Hubble Donahue. We'll talk about why they end up 6 points back from the lead and fourth place overall. Shanae Kerr also with Brooke Castile and Michael Weiss. I mean, Shanae, that was none of us expected it. I'm trying to find my words.
There was certainly a lot of drama in that free dance right there, and I think coming away with a result that none of us particularly expected. I think it was a little bit surprising with Hubble and Donahue having made no obvious mistakes when their score came up and they were in fourth. I think that the whole audience inwardly gasped along with them on in the kiss and cry. We weren't expecting that. I believe it was a stationary lift, their first stationary lift, and we'll, I guess, go more into detail on that later on. But yeah, I mean, Chuck and Bates for me were the deserving winners. I loved their free dance. I think it still has somewhere to go before
Sure.
Worlds. There was a couple of things that I thought, you know what, that could definitely be better. But overall, the deserving winners here today for me.
Yeah, so Chuck and Bates, let's go ahead and look in at their free dance. This was something that we saw first off, at least on the national stage, Brooke, a couple weeks ago, and they just continue to wow us with this free dance.
This program is Marie-France Dubré at her finest. She's the one who choreographed it. I feel like Maddie's hands were making the music. They weren't just skating to it, but they were making it. It was outstanding. Every detail in this program is perfection, and I just want to watch it over and over again. It's absolutely incredible, and I love this look on them. I think it is so smart and so unique. And
you're sorry, those little hand movements they do, and the lifts, the choreographic lifts, it just fitted the music perfectly. They were so on time. They made a little error in that lift coming out at the end, but I think that was the only one.
Well, we joked about how Evan is basically just an apparatus for Maddie's jungle gym.
To swing
like when
around.
she's in the lift, she's just like going up and around and over, and it's so impressive.
And I feel like this program really shows Maddie off really well, and it's a great vehicle
It's
to
a showcase
show
for her. Yeah.
It's really great for her, and I think that's really worked for them.
And we talked about coming in, that those lifts, as Mike is pointing out for them, they're so big and they can score so many points off of them. Today that really helped them with this free dance. They came away the clear winners in the free dance, 2 points over Gillis and Poirier.
Right, it was actually quite elite, and for them coming into this season, having not competed internationally very much, certainly not in a big event, it's going to give them so much confidence going into Worlds. And the places where I thought that I think that they could improve on a bit was their speed over the ice. I feel like at the end, if they could just up that speed to end with even more of a wow factor, this is going to be a free dance that's going to have people on their feet.
One aspect of the free dance that has been so fun for all of us to watch is the slide, the choreographed slide, and you loved the slide that they did as well.
Yeah, I thought, well, I love the added slide feature in ice dancing.
It's been fun this season.
Like, what is naturally any kid that goes out on ice, what do you want to do? You want to like slide across it. So now that they're allowed to do that and it's actually rewarded, I think is a cool feature.
Very well done from Chuck and Bates, who, as we talked about before in our pre-show here, they're coming back from a lot of adversity. She had surgery this last year. Obviously, they had the disappointment at the Olympics, but they are 4 continents champions after just coming back a few weeks ago from that injury. Congratulations to them. Let's go ahead and take a look at Caitlin Weaver and Andrew Pogier. They end up in second place. They're also a team, Shanae, that we haven't seen much this season.
Right, and this program, I mean, First of all, Caitlin and Andrew are just a class act. I mean, the finesse that they bring to the sport. I mean, look at this lift. Her extension of her arms and her legs. She's just beautiful in that lift position. And they never make an ugly position. They always just look beautiful. They're long, they're tall, they're commanding on the ice. And overall, they skated a very nice, clean program. It didn't look like it was one of their first competitions of the season.
Yeah, and we talked about this too. They've been performing this in shows, and I think it showed through here. When you perform in shows, as we talked about, you're geared so much more about getting the audience involved and perfecting every little nuance to make sure that the audience is enjoying the performance. And I think in performing those in shows, without a warm-up, under spotlights, without perfect conditions like you have in a competition, made them that much more prepared.
And this is a team too, Brooke, that, I mean, they're so visually appealing because he's so big, he's so strong, but she offers this long life, this classy look, but then they seem to really accentuate that with everything that they do on the ice.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, even though they're very tall, both of them, and long, and sometimes you don't see great lifts with teams like that, they still have amazing lifts, very unique lifts, and they really, I loved them in this program, how they use that ethereal floating dress to accentuate her lifts a lot.
That dress was beautiful.
Absolutely stunning, and an emotional performance for them as well, and it was really beautiful.
Yeah, well done to them. So again, they come out and they come and win the silver medal in the free dance. Overall, let's go ahead and look for Gillis and Poirier. They came into this free dance in 4th place, and we were wondering, they were knocking on the door to get onto the podium, and this is a free dance, Sinead, that we talked about this before. It is a wonder to see.
Yeah, I mean, so for me, I liked the other free dances. I loved this. For me, it's a masterpiece. I thought right from the start, it gave me goosebumps. This lift, so original, so technically difficult, and just beautiful. All the, not just their elements were unique and different, but also the transitions in between are so technically difficult too. Just even this move into the lift, the transition into the lift, they're not skate, 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 lift. They do a beautiful move and then they do their lift. Just spellbinding.
Everything's so seamless in this program, and Brooke, the transitions, the way that they move from one element to the next, they make it look easy. It's obviously not easy.
I feel like if I could never watch a program again in my life, this would be the last one I would ever want to see.
This is it.
Yeah, I was in tears when they finished. I couldn't even sit down. When they did this, I jumped out of my seat.
Well,
I couldn't stay.
It looks very simple, but I know how difficult it is for one person to do that back inside edge while putting weight on your inside lunge leg, and it's really difficult for one person. I can't imagine for 2 people to do that in unison. That was the thing that I was the most impressed with, was that type of maneuver was very unique and different from the other ice dance teams out there, I thought.
And our girl, Ashley Wagner, made a great point when we were watching them. She says they always try to be unique and different, and sometimes they do maybe too much, and this had just the perfect balance between beauty, uniqueness, and it's all sewn together so well. And I don't even have words for how unbelievable that program was.
Brooke, how good does it feel for them, a team that's been knocking on the door so much, to come through and to skate that well and then earn that bronze medal?
Oh, this is what they wanted. We talked about it on the pre-show, and they did it, and it feels great, especially going into Worlds, and especially against such a tough field. This wasn't just, 2 teams ahead of them. There's 3 teams behind them that are amazing as well, and so to be on the podium is a really big deal.
I think they needed this. They needed a breakthrough. They've been a team that, as you said earlier, Brooke, have been in 4th place a lot. They needed a moment, and I think this program is the perfect vehicle to launch them into the big time this season.
And I talked a little bit about how Maddie and Evan's program showcased Maddie. I thought this program really showcased Paul's abilities. He is such a strong skater. I think he's one of the best. He might be the best guy out there.
I agree.
And it really shows off his skating talent. And he can get so far off axis with his body and take his just his center so far. So easily, and it's really incredible. I mean, for people who don't know that and don't know a lot about dance, that's something that he's so good at. And we were saying he reminds us of Scott Moyer a bit.
Yeah, he's got the knees of Scott Moyer, and he's got the freedom and the ability to, as you see, take himself completely off axis, and you think they're just about to fall over, and oh no, they don't, and they're on to the next move. such a talent.
And they'll take that confidence, obviously, from finishing third here, but then maybe a little bit of work to put in the rhythm dance. That's where they've struggled this season if they look at Worlds.
Right, and even with that, the rhythm dance at this competition looked so much better than it has done all season, so it shows it's on the right path. And if they can just take that and build on it, I think they're going to have two very strong programs, and they're going to really put themselves in contention for medals at Worlds.
Can I just say, and we've had this all week, but Anaheim, are you guys having a good time this week at Four Continents? Yes? We've had great crowds here just outside in section 208. And again, we're going to check in on some of your questions from Facebook and YouTube here to get our panelists to help answer those. Let's go ahead and start to break down what happened for Madison Hubble and Zach Donahue today. They were in the lead coming into this free dance. And Shanae, I'm going to let you take this highlight package and just walk us through. There's one in particular, the stationary lift at the beginning of the program that did not go the way they wanted. They lost 5 points off
for
that.
Maddie and Zach, for example, at the Grand Prix final, their first lift, which is a stationary lift, received a level 4. At this competition, it received a base level, which for them was a huge deal. And I think if you look at the travel on it, I don't know, I would have to look into it, but I think that might be why. He traveled a bit too much instead of staying in the center, therefore not making it a stationary lift anymore. But to receive a base value for a lift in ice dance, that cost him a lot of points.
Okay, and this just actually coming through from Twitter. Zachary Donahue saying that he's confused by having their opening lift reduced to B level since the free dance was practiced twice this week at the venue and no feedback from the judges. I want you to weigh in there, Shanae. Also, Madison saying that the panel thought it moved too much to be stationary and they didn't have enough rotations for rotational. So they didn't get feedback. That's Zach saying we're doing the lift the same way we've done it all week. Why are you telling us now that it's only worth 1 point?
Unless they weren't traveling that much all week in practice, and they did with adrenaline of competition. They maybe didn't have it in their head, and they maybe, I didn't see them practice this week, but there is a possibility that they were doing it just perfectly well in practice, and then just on the day, they had that travel.
I just want to pull up once again Tara Wellman, our producer. We've got this again. This is the lift here. This lost them 5 points. It essentially, this is supposed to be stationary. Watch them on the I, the N, the E, and all the way to the other end.
I mean, you can definitely see it moving. It does. And they definitely didn't move that much at Grand Prix final. So I'm sure that that's something they're going to have to address when they get home.
And this is the nuanced stuff. 1 second, Brooke. This is the nuanced stuff in the sense of ice dance is so tough to understand sometimes for all of us watching at home, for me included. But these are the details that the top teams do so well. And Maddie and Zach have done so well all season. But perhaps it was that adrenaline. I mean, obviously, we'll go back and review it and talk about it.
Right, and he might be just in the heat of the moment, not realizing that. But I'm pretty sure for them, they will have been doing it stationary pretty much all week. And then just on the day, these things happen in competition.
Well, this is kind of what they're known for. This is their MO, is to make mistakes like this when they have adrenaline. They probably don't do it like that in practice every day. It probably is a little bit more stationary, and they're known for this. It happened at the Olympics. It's happened competition after competition. And when you have, this is the first time they've had challengers really in a competition this deep, and you can't make mistakes like that. So that's where we talked about that at the beginning of the show, that the pressure is on when your free dance isn't as strong as maybe a couple of these teams behind you. You can't make any mistakes.
And we talked about on the pre-desk before the event. I mean, we say this was really unpredictable, but we actually predicted it. I mean, we said that Chalk and Bates, this was the time for them to take advantage. Maddie and Evan have been winning all season long, and we said this was, if it's going to happen, it's going to happen here, because Maddie and Evan's free dance is very strong for them. We felt like the momentum was going in that direction from the national championships, and it happened here. And as soon as Maddie and Maddie and Zach ended up missing that spin and a couple levels on the other lift, the other spin that they got. As soon as that door was open, it was like Maddie and Evan jumped on it and took advantage of it.
Yeah, there's another spin there, Shanae, that went from a level 4 to a level 2 as well.
They received a level 2 for their spin only, whereas Madison and Evan will have received a level 4 for their spin. So again, that's another couple of points just eating away. So yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, and I think I said this right at the beginning, it would come down to the technical panel as to who won out of this bunch of 4. And it did come down to the technical panel because the component score was actually very similar for all. And so it really did come down to that lift, that spin. I believe as well one of the Twizzles received a level 3 from Maddie and Zach. So yeah, just those little technical points
Yeah,
for them.
it's actually interesting you point out that component score. It is the technical panel that makes that call on the technical score. So it's not necessarily those judges, it's that three-person technical panel.
The judges might have been just as surprised as everyone else when the score came up, because it's really the technical panel.
Exactly. I do want to give credit to Lynn Rutherford, who was down in the mix zone, got those quotes from Zach Donahue and from Madison Hubble. She works for NBCSports.com. What happens now? For Maddie and Zach, they came in expecting to win this competition. How do you hit the reset button? Do you need to hit the reset button?
Well, I think for them, now that they know that there was very specific reasons why they didn't win the competition, I mean, for them, they'll go home and they'll have to address the problems in the lift and the spin and the twizzle. So it will mainly be about that. I mean,
it gives them an explanation, is something to work on. It's like, okay,
right.
We didn't get our levels. Now we got to make sure we get them. It would be a lot harder to take if, like you said, if the component marks were clearly saying that we want the other teams, and that wasn't really the case. The case was they didn't get levels on things.
Yeah, and I think in a sense, when you're a figure skater, you want to have reasons, right, Brooke, to know, okay, what did I do wrong? And there it's sort of highlighted for them pretty clearly.
Yeah, I always loved getting a protocol after your competition and being able to look specifically at what you did, because then you definitely do feel like you have responsibilities and that you have to go fix them. And, I do think that element for element, technically, Gillis and Poirier and Chalk and Bates were stronger than the other two teams as far as like going down a list per element. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, no, I do. Having watched all the performances, I mean, for me, I do agree with you. I mean, the lifts of Gillies and Poirier and of Chalk and Bates, and the spin. The spin was really, the spins were good too, of those two teams. Yeah, Hubble and Donahue received only a level 2 for their spin, and you could kind of see that it was slower than the other two and not as interesting. So that's something they're going to have to address.
It's going to be a very exciting world.
It really is. Sarah weighing in on Facebook saying that it seemed like Maddie and Zach got lost in their adrenaline a little bit. The passion got the best of them there. And Brooke, you're pointing out that that's happened in the past, and they've really made a pointed effort for that not to happen this season, obviously. But gosh, they're such good skaters. We know that they'll rebound from this. Let's go ahead and take a look one more time at the standings. It's Chalk and Bates, a comeback story, really, that you've got to appreciate today. Let's not lose the fact that they won this competition outright by skating fantastically. Weaver Pogier with silver, Gillis Poirier with the bronze. Also, shout out to Hawaii Baker and Fournier Boudreau and Sorensen, who had a great free skate themselves, free dance.
I loved Fournier Boudreau and Sorensen's free dance. I thought it was so strong and so technically difficult. And they took risks in the free dance, which made it very exciting. And it flew across the ice so fast. That is definitely a team I'm going to be watching out for at Worlds.
Okay, wow. Whew. That was well done, by the way. Thank you for educating all of us and to our team, our technical team.
My technical hat.
Yeah, for sure. No, it's great. Well, we've had a great weekend here, and I want to start with our favorite moments. And really, today, we saw a few of those favorite moments, and for you, it was Gillis and Poirier in that free dance.
Right, I think Brooke and I both agree. We both said it. We both wanted it as our moment, but we've agreed that we'll just take it together. We're going to share it. Gillis and Poirier's free dance. I thought it was phenomenal.
I mean, Brooke, just the way that they capture the audience is beautiful.
I mean, I've been trying to think, is there a performance I've ever liked better than this? And I can't at the moment. I was spellbound. It was absolutely stunning. I'm gonna cry again. There we go. I loved it. It was so good. It was so beautiful.
She literally jumped out of her seat to give them a standing ovation before it even finished. So
yeah,
I can attest to that.
I just can appreciate so much everything that they do and the way they do it and the way they sew their programs together. I just think they're outstanding, and I want them to get credit for that. And I sometimes don't think they do. So I was really excited that they did here.
Yeah, and it's a Starry Night free skate, the Van Gogh influence, and I loved his painter's shirt, just the little details.
Oh,
everything was taken care of.
Made it.
Moment of the weekend, what was it for you?
I would say Shoma Uno's quad flip. I think that won the competition for him. Yeah, he came from behind, and he had, he's been dealing with injuries all season long. That right ankle has been bothering him, and the real question mark was the quad flip. And he's been doing the quad toes beautifully. Triple axels have been solid, but this program was really seamless. But technically, my favorite moment was when he hit that quad flip.
I mean, just the fact, Mike, that
here it is right here.
Yeah, here it is, baby.
And it was like a big question mark, and that was it. I knew when he hit that, I was like, all right.
It was so clean.
Got by his biggest hurdle.
And that was the biggest hurdle for him coming in. And he was able to tackle it, and the way that he went from fourth to first last night, that was such a great men's free skate overall. My moment of the weekend, I've got to give props to Rika Kahira and the way that she was able to bounce back after being 5th place in the short program. You guys, she said she felt like in the short program that she wasn't feeling the ice in this arena. Well, watch the feel on this triple axel. Boom.
Beautiful. Wow.
Oh, and you can tell that this program meant so much to her. The finish here, the way that she was able to come back. Little fist pump. That's how Rika Kahira goes wild, that double fist pump.
When you see her do that triple axel, you wonder how she ever misses in the short because it looks so easy and perfect. Technique's great.
Yeah, well, it is.
Yeah.
It's very, very good. And it's the jump that she's struggled with in the short program and that she's been able to really bring it when she needs it. The free skate, that triple axel. We've had a great weekend. Michael Wipes, Brooke Castile, and Shanae Kerr. Thank you so much. Ashley Wagner is just offset. You can't see her, but she has done.
Let's bring her in for a thank you.
How about a round of applause for our panelists, everyone? Give them some love, Anaheim. We've had a great week here. We have a wonderful team behind the scenes. Tara Wellman is our producer. Tom O'Loughlin is our technical director. We've got Sam on camera. Annie Mae has been running the show here. Donnie's been back there cutting highlights. Rob Dustin, thank you. Julie Leitoff, thank you. Thanks to all of you for watching. We love doing the Bridgestone Ice Desk. It's so much fun for all of us to speak with all of you. Thank you for your comments and questions. We see them, we hear them, and we hope to see you very soon. Guess what? It's World Championships next month, but for now, it's a mic drop from the Bridgestone Ice Desk. Bridgestone Ice Desk, mic drop, we're out. You guys, see you later.